Hello students, I hope you are quite well. You have analyzed your result, final examination result, and everywhere you have seen the discussions. If I got 5 marks more, I could have so and so, but these things, the time has gone, you forget. Now it's your time. You are to make yourself quite ready, and this is proper time to make yourself ready. If you fail to make yourself ready, and again you are to suffer. I do not expect that you hope to suffer in near future. Let us start the class directly. Where I left in my last class, you can remember, because this is the class number 4 of your unit number 1. I told you that in this unit, 2 units have been clubbed, and that's why altogether you are to study 7 units. If you consider these 2 units as 1 unit, then you are to study 6 units. Your course is not so much, you see, simple. It is quite extensive, and that's why we are to be to some extent speedy, so that we can complete the whole course and you can prepare yourself properly. And for doing better result, you see students are getting around 98-99%, those who are so much successful, or those who are getting proper position. And that's why I just have informed you that out of 100, students are securing 98-99%, and that's why you are to be so much careful. And if you properly study and properly prepare yourself, I hope you too will be able to, you see, secure very satisfactory marks in this paper too. In the last part of the last class, we discussed about the why of the appointment of the Secondary Education Commission, and we found that the commission was appointed. Why the Secondary Education Commission means Model Year Commission was appointed, we have come to know, and we discussed so much well. Let us go back to these things I discussed in the last class. Let us to survey the prevailing conditions I discussed in my last class, and just to help you keep link with this class, again I just have repeated so much speedily. To survey the prevailing conditions of secondary education in the country as a whole, to suggest measures for the reorganization and improvement of secondary education, specifically keeping in account the following particular aspects. Number 1, the aims of secondary education and the contents covered by the curriculum of secondary education of the country. Next, the interrelationships of secondary education with primary task and primary education and higher education of the country. The interrelationship of different types of secondary schools which were functioning to impart secondary education. To study other elite problems to make secondary education very much functional with the spirit of developing a uniform system to meet our needs. And let us begin today's class. Friends, up till now many changes have been going on or taking place in the system of education, but still today we do not have become so much successful in getting one uniform system of education. There is no uniformity if you consider the institutional situation or facilities. At the same time, you see potentiality of teachers in different institutions of your country, and that's why students are suffering. Let us begin. As the primary duty, the Secondary Education Commission, what the Secondary Education Commission had to do, if it is asked, studied what it did. It studied the prevailing system of secondary education systematically, and it had to do so. Why it was appointed? To study the secondary education system. The views of experts, teachers and educational officers were systematically collected, and those were thoroughly analyzed and interpreted by the members of the commission, and the problems were sorted out. On the basis of its field survey, the commission prepared its report within 250 pages and presented the same on 29th August 1953, and that's why secondary education we come to know as 1952 and 53. The commission studied the whole situation as per its assigned role, and as for its taking the views of all these people, it submitted the report on 29th August 1953. It may be asked in your examination, when the commission, Secondary Education Commission, submitted its report, then you are to write as on 29th August 1953. Thenceforth, let us go back to the next one. To suggest different important measures for the uplift of the secondary level of education, the commission enlisted the defects which were treated as the problems of secondary education, for which the stage remained as the weakest link of further education. The Commission conceived and pointed out the defects as, here at this point, I just am to repeat, it may be asked in your examination to write. Suppose you are asked to write, you please mention some of the defects which were shown, which were pointed out by the Secondary Education Commission, defects of secondary education which were pointed out by the Secondary Education Commission of 1952 and 53. Or it may be asked in the examination, you please mention some of the problems which were specified or pointed out by the Secondary Education Commission of 1952 or 53. Means sometimes it may be said as defects and sometimes it may be problem. Number one, what did the Commission do? Secondary education as per the Commission was more or less bookish, mechanical, non-dynamic and rigid. It didn't pay proper attention to the diverse aptitudes of the students. Means the Commission understood or realized that the creativity parameter of the students has not been given proper place in the process of teaching in the secondary level, and that's why it was quite bookish, mechanical, non-dynamic. It was in a sense isolated from life. Problems of life were not well counted, and education couldn't give proper direction to face life courageously. Means there was no linkage between education and life. Means education failed to touch the problems of life. It was totally isolated from life problems. The Secondary Commission, you see, mentioned. Let us go back to the next one. You see, it was more or less examination oriented. Now also, how much mark you have secured in your examination, it is asked. But how much you have understood or realized the contents and how you can apply in your practical life, that has not been well or scientifically measured. So it was exam oriented. Curriculum of secondary education was overcrowded. Means it gets so much heavy. Method of teaching was not very psychological, systematic and up to date. Fourth, education as a result was narrow and one-sided. It failed to train the diverse aspects of personality of the young learners. Fifth, there was no proper provision of multi-dimensional education, means varied education. There was the lack of diversified courses in the curriculum. So friends, you study the slides, contents, you will understand. It was bookish, it was isolated from life, it was totally, means secondary education was totally exam oriented. Secondary education, secondary education did not put any importance on the creativity of the students or creative parameter of the students. And let us go back to the next slide. 6. The number of students in each of the classes was more, huge number of students, which reduced the personal contact and care of the teachers. Means when 300 or 400 students are there, teachers cannot keep personal contact. And personally, students are not well known to the teachers. And once the teacher fails to understand the students personally, they cannot teach the students in proper manner. English was the medium of instruction and compulsory subject as well. From the British time, it happened so. There was less importance on the co-curricular activities for which the process of development of personality of a whole man was disturbed. Secondary education pointed out. Let us go back to the next one. Profession of teaching was not very attractive. Facilities offered to the teachers could not draw the attention of right type of people. As a result, most of the teachers in the profession didn't possess personal qualities, aptitude, and devotion to their studies. Means it was the viewpoint of the Secondary Education Commission of 1952. Prevailing system of examination was not defects free. Such examinations couldn't test the real knowledge of the students. So Secondary Education Commission said or expressed its view that way relating to the position of examination. Let us go back to the next. India got her independence. You come to know that in the 15th August 1947, I am repeating, and Nehru was sworn in as the first Prime Minister by Lord Mountbatten, the last Governor General of India. It may be asked in your examination, who was the first Prime Minister of India and who was the last Governor of India, you see. So you are to write or you are to keep in mind. After 3 years back, that is in 26 January 1950, India became a sovereign democratic republic as the Constitution of India came into force with universal adult franchise, means voting power. and Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the first president of India and independent India. Who was the first president of independent India? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was from Bihar. And I told you about Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, and I told you about the University Education Commission of 1948. And Radhakrishnan was, since 1962, he was the vice president of India, and he was, now after 1962, he was the president of India since 13th May, perhaps, 1967. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the first president of India, independent India. Gradually new census started to take place with new plans and programs. Let us go back to the next slide. This is Rajendra Prasad. He was born on 3rd December 1884 and he died on 28 February 1963. And Bengal presidency during that time means British India, and now Bihar, India. During that time, you see states were known as presidency, and Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, honorable first president of independent India, was from Bengal presidency, and now it is in Bihar. This is the portrait. I salute him. You are to pay homage to this first president of independent India. Let us go back to the next slide. This is also another, you see, most important portrait of Rajendra Prasad, tribute to the first president of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, on his birth anniversary. This picture was published. Let us go back to the next slide. India had only 7,460 secondary schools in 1950-51 with 18.33% of literacy rate. Now it has become more than 74.04%, approximately 75%. So during that time, literacy percentage was 18.33%. With other urgent necessities to meet the socio-economic demands, there was the need of modification of the aims and objectives of secondary education to help people to meet the requirements of the democratic setup of the country. Therefore, the secondary education had to take note of the changed political, socio-economic and cultural demands of sovereign democratic republic at the time of reviewing and restating the aims and objectives of secondary education. So, secondary education pointed out the defects, and it had to suggest most important measures for bringing senses or for tackling all the prevailing problems so as to cope with the changing demand of Indian democratic social setup. Let us go back to the next slide. Thus, according to the Secondary Education Commission, the aims and objectives of the secondary education were as given below. Now, in your examination, it may be asked to write, please, it may be asked to write the aims and objectives of secondary education according to or by following the suggestion or by following the views of the Secondary Education Commission of 1952 and 53. According to the Secondary Education Commission of 1952 and 53, means the Mudaliar Commission, these were the aims and objectives of secondary education. Number 1, development of democratic citizenship qualities. Number 2, development of the qualities for leadership. Number 3, development of personality. Number 4, improvement of vocational capability and efficiency. Number 5, development of the concept of world citizenship. See how serious things are. Development of democratic citizenship. Today we are even after the completion of higher secondary education, you think yourself whether you have understood or realized the value of democratic citizenship or not. You try to understand where your leadership qualities have been developed, qualities are well developed or not. You try to understand whether your personalities are well developed or not. You try to understand whether your vocational capabilities are well developed or not. Now it has become, in other terms, skill India, the concept has come, as well as human resource concept has come. Development of the concept of world citizenship, because without the development of the spirit of international understanding, we never can lead life in peace. Peace is the utmost necessity of life, or of life of all the citizens of all the nations or nations of the globe, and that's why it is a special importance. Let us go back. All these points included different aspects of immediate socio-political and economic demands. and personality development of the educands means students. The basic points included the issues that are explained in brief as given below. Means behind this, the first one, what was the aim? Development of democratic citizenship. What does it indicate? If it is asked to write in your examination, what does the aim of secondary education, development of democratic citizenship include or indicate? Then you are to write, it indicates the development of clear thinking. Your thinking should be clear. Means receptivity to new ideas. You are to be ready to receive all the new things, all the chance ideas. Then clearness in speech and writing. Your personality, or you are to be so much clear in writing and in your speech. Then training in the art of living in community. Social living art should be, means we are to be so much concerned for the social values. When passion for social justice has special importance. But in India, what happened? How things are prevailing, you can judge yourself. Then for development of the power of tolerance, that has lack in most of the citizens now. Tolerance has special importance for the success of democracy. Development of the spirit of patriotism, because we are to develop the spirit of proper nationalism, means patriotism. And in military point, certainly we are to pay homage, we are to develop proper respect towards the tricolor. At the same time, we are to develop proper respect towards the demand of our country, because my country is greater than my life, and my flag, means tricolor, is much more, respectful than other things. Development of the spirit of patriotism. These are the different sub points which are included in first point. Let us go back to the next one. Second one is development of the qualities of leadership implies the development of the qualities such as, it may be asked in your examination, what does the issue or what does the aim of secondary education, development of the qualities of leadership imply? Then you are to write, it implies training in discipline. Discipline has special importance, friends. Without discipline, nobody can become successful. Clear understanding of different social issues. We are to understand the social issues, and we must have to develop proper respect for social values. Let us see the next slide. Now, third one, development of personality. What does it mean? It means the development of the spirit of respect for cultural heritage. It also means the development of proper interest for the good of society. In brief, it means, if it is asked to write in examination, you are to write all these things. Releasing the source of creative energy. Appreciation of cultural heritage. We are to learn to appreciate our cultural heritage. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one universe. 5,000 years back, Indian culture, taught us this way. Let us go back to the next slide. Improvement of vocational capability and efficiency emphasizes on the development of productive efficiency so as to help every learner to take active part in the process of economic development. In simple explanation, it means, what does it mean? Appreciation of dignity of work. We have to understand. We do not understand the value of work. Because without work, no money you will get. Work is money. We sell labor, earn money. Appreciation of the value of the world of work means we do not, once we are in government establishment, we think that this is the duty of the government. But as citizen, your responsibility, your accountability is to be understood well, and that's why this is important. Promotion of technical skill for the development of expertise. This is special importance, because if we are to make our country one of the leader nations in the club of nations, then this has special importance. We have to understand the dignity of work, value of work, and then after we have to understand the special significance or importance of special expertise in different activities, means skills of skills for doing different activities. Let us go back to the next one. This one is another aim, development of the concept of world citizenship. It means the development of the spirit of welfare of humanity. It means the development of the true spirit of patriotism and citizenship with the spirit of international sensitivity for the good of whole human race. Friends, things are so much important And with the help of the understanding of all these things, we can make our country a great country, and we can contribute our share for the peace, for the stability, for the uplift of the global social order. Let us go back to the Secondary Education Commission thoroughly studied the political, socio-economic and cultural needs of the country and the needs of the global society in brief. Thus, it emphasized on the development of all such capabilities with the help of which democratic tendencies would be infused and productive capabilities, as well as the spirit of national and international citizenship qualities would be developed. So friends, let us go back to the next one. In a sense, the Secondary Education Commission wanted to bring a radical sense towards the socio-political, cultural and economic aspects of Indian society, and planned to bring senses towards the spirit of patriotism, national interest and international sensitivities for the welfare of the country and the world as well. So friends, these are very important and valuable concepts, and if we become successful in realizing the values of all these things, certainly we will be able to lead a successful life. At the same time, we will be able to become responsible citizen, and we will be able to contribute our share for the growth of our democracy, for the excellence of our democracy, for the prosperity of our society, for the uplift of human global social order. Thank you so much for today. I will discuss the other things in the next class. Thank you so much.